Fever Pitch was released in 1997. It is directed by David Evans, written by Nick Hornby, and stars Colin Firth, Ruth Gemmell, and Mark Strong. Follows the story of a man who meets a woman and they kind of connect. They have a bit of a one-night stand that turns into a long-lasting relationship. But that relationship is put to the test by his love of football. Obsession, you might call it, as opposed to love. It's just, yeah, this guy is obsessed with football, and that kind of really gets in the way of their relationship. And that's essentially it. That's the story. It's like, will these two survive his obsession with football? This film feels very typical of British cinema around the mid-90s. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but it definitely feels like of a particular time and place. You watch it and you can think, yeah, mid-90s. But yeah, it's funny seeing Colin Firth playing a proper lad, you know, a football lad. Because obviously he tends to play your more dapper gentleman types. So he's this teacher and he gets on well with his kids and he gets on well with the kids' parents because they all know him to be this football fanatic, and they all like to talk to him about football. There's one amusing sequence when he's put before a review board in order to go for this job, and all one of the review board members can talk about is football. And they never stay on topic. But yeah, I think ultimately it's a really kind of good film about obsession, and you can take out football and throw something else in there and it would still work. Like for me, it's film. There's many moments in this movie that I find super relatable. You know, even whether it's the girlfriend picking things up by osmosis. My wife, you know, since we got married, my wife has come out with nuggets of film information in conversations that before she met me, she never would have come out with. And it's this kind of osmosis thing where because I talk about film so much, she starts to pick it up. And there's things like that in this film where because he's all about football, even she starts picking stuff up and gets an interest in certain elements of the game. Other bits that are relatable are where, like, they'll be having a conversation and he's not listening. And when she eventually kind of quizzes him on it, so what are you actually thinking about? He ultimately is thinking about football. Well, I've had moments like that, plenty of moments like that, only I'm not thinking about football, I'm thinking about movies. It's funny because it's true. It's funny because it's very relatable. You know, so I like the relationship dynamics in this film. I like the stuff with the best friends. So Mark Strong is in this. He plays the best friend to Colin Firth's character. And their relationship is really interesting. I hate football. I have no passion for football. I don't like football. I don't like talk about football. It does my head in. But despite being that person I've just described, I couldn't help but get on the edge of my seat at the end of the film. When Arsenal are playing in this final and you've got Colin Firth's character and Mark Strong's character, they're watching it together on the telly, and just the relationship dynamics between the two of them felt very real to me. I've seen these conversations take place. I've been in a pub when a Euro final was going on and heard conversations like this take place and seen the kind of bodily reactions to people that you see in this moment, in this scene. So it feels very real to me. And I think obviously that comes from the fact that this film is very autobiographical for Nick Hornby, who wrote it. It's very much about his life to a large degree. So it's coming from a very real and raw place, the writing. And I feel like Evans, the director, translates that very well onto screen at certain points. that scene being a particular standout, as I say. So when these two men are just on the edge of their seats, and one of them wants to leave because he just can't bear to watch, and the other one's like, fine, you go, I'm staying, and just like their interplay is really good. I like their friendship. I like Ruth Gemmell in this as well. I thought she was really good. She was a highlight. She was a standout for me. Given that I've never seen her in anything before, I watched her in this and I was like, I really like this woman. She's a good actress. Why have I not seen her in anything before? I've checked her letterboxd since watching this, and there's a few films on there that I think I may have seen. I don't remember, but yeah, it surprises me that she's not more of a household name, quite frankly. When I look at some of the stars that have come out of British cinema and are now household names, I feel like she's probably not had her fair shot, because she's really good in this. If anything, the relationship between them two, the way it starts, the way it develops, is a bit stereotypically British, in the sense that with British cinema we have this habit of just people just hopping straight into bed without barely a conversation, and it's just something that's always bugged me. It's just like, I don't get it. I don't get why people just hop into bed straight away without even... There's no discussion. It's just that it's like they know. She knows he wants to go to bed with her. He knows she wants to go to bed with him, and they just do it. And it's just like, it just feels a bit cheap, a bit tacky. And then your whole relationship is then kind of built out of that one night stand. It's built out of that indiscretion, rather than actually building the relationship up first, and then sex being the result of that relationship having been built up. And that's just me. That's just probably where I come from my moral stance, but it's something that's rife in British cinema, and it's always bugged me. Once they do the deed and they are kind of together, I do like the interplay between them. I like, again, like I say, the way that this guy's obsession takes over his life to the detriment of his relationship, and you're always left wondering, like, is he going to be able to get that in check enough to keep this relationship? And should he? That's the question. That's one of the questions I think that the film is dealing with. It's the things we're passionate about, the things that make us who we are. Can we take them into our relationships fully? You know, into a romantic relationship? Can you take all of that into a relationship without your partner expecting you to dial it down a bit? I think that the film deals with some of that in many respects. And it also deals with the aspects of where certain passions come from and why they stick with us for so long. It's probably not a film I'm going to rush back to. I don't think it'll be one of those films that has the constant repeat watch value for me. But it is a good film, and I would highly recommend it. It's very enjoyable, very funny in parts, and the characters are people that I warm to, despite certain failings. Good stuff. If you've seen Fever Pitch and you want to let me know what your thoughts are on it, then please do leave them down in the comments section below. Thank you for watching this review, and until next time, cracking.